Yeah, I think this particular record we do get a little more inspirational. But as a general rule, I like to keep it weird.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time on the channel, hit subscribe right now. The Deads have been making quite some waves with their colorful mix of rock, alternative, punk, grunge, you name it, it's in there. And the new album is coming our way. I sat down with guitarist and singer Meta Dead to talk all about it. Meta Dead, thank you so much for your time today. I very much appreciate it. We can rage and fight, and we can rock and roll all night. The Deads are working on new material. We've seen some singles come out already. Let's just, get straight to it. What can we expect and when can we expect it?
That is a question that we ask all the time. Of course, with the global pandemic, everything changed, right? So we had a tour scheduled with The Darkness. We had an album release scheduled for April of 2020. And now we're approaching spring of 2021, and the Deadcore still don't have their records. So the short answer is I don't know. And the longer answer is we're going to be releasing some more singles, and I'm hoping to get it out as soon as possible. We really just want to be able to tour on it because first and foremost, we're a live band, so that's a huge part of what we do. And we don't feel right putting a record out without being able to make our fans part of that process. So we're just kind of waiting until the air clears and we can support the album with a tour. I guess you're gonna have to deal with me.
It's fair to say that you guys bring an eclectic cocktail of music. How do you describe your sound to somebody who's never heard you before?
Honestly, usually the thing I say is, well, no one hates it, so you'll probably at least not hate it. I just tell them it's a mix of metal, grunge, pop, punk, all the things we love, and we don't give a shit about fitting into a certain mold. We've played with so many different kind of artists, and from bands like Stone Sour to bands like POD to Richie Ramone. I mean, it's just kind of like people don't really care. It's just I'd say it's rock and roll, and and then we have moments where we venture out into a weird fusion with whatever is inspiring us that day.
What I think sets you guys apart is that with you, it's not, oh, we have our grunge song and we've got our pop song and it's within one song, you kind of go through a roller coaster of different things. You can be in a very grungy atmosphere, and then 2 seconds later, you're in a super grass or, Britpop kind of vibe. It's fun because it keeps it unexpected.
Yeah, I think that's for us, that was the thing. We all had been in bands, so many different kinds of bands. I was in a metal band called Monster Cock. I mean, I've been in like every kind of band. I think we all just wanted to pay homage to all of the things we love.
Lyrically speaking, you guys take your listeners and your fans also a little bit on roller coasters. There's clearly an upbeat, colorful image around the band, and a lot of the singles I find, can start off with like a fun, upbeat 90s vibe, but then very quickly, usually, songs get heavier. But also from the lyrics perspective, it's clear that the topics are not always, lollipops, rainbow and sunshine, but it talks about more serious issues. My question for you is because I've seen, in very different genres, examples of that, where bands clearly love what they do and they write about what they care about. I think it's fair to say that with the Deads, a lot of it is about love and inclusion. But then because of sometimes a very, upbeat mantra, that is not always noticed by everybody or not always taken serious. Is that something that it can be a challenge for you guys?
I think it is a topic that comes up when I'm writing lyrics of like, is this too dark or is this too light? Because you want to kind of you want to toe that line, and we do have a lot of earth science that we like to incorporate. We have a lot of, you know, extraterrestrial vibes that we like to incorporate lyrically. I think most of our stuff we tend to do like love topics of love, but with maybe metaphors that haven't been explored as much. And then in addition to that, a reflection of just whatever we're experiencing, what's going on in the world around us. I do think we act songs that get too dark. Also, we act songs that are too poppy. I love a dark, depressing record, don't get me wrong, but I think one of the goals of this band is to always show a silver lining to where we're all at. Especially with our new record, Tell Your Girls It's All Right. It was written at a very dark time in the United States, and we felt that on such a intense level, especially as women. And we just wanted the younger women, and really all women, to know, like, it's gonna be okay for you. Like, this isn't the end. This isn't the end of everything. It's gonna be okay. So, yeah, I think this particular record we do get a little more inspirational. But as a general rule, you know, I like to keep it weird.
You know, a lot of the songs were written for the previous album when, you know, the United States went through a darker time. For a band like the DEADS, there must have been a lot of inspiration in the last few years for you guys to create art. And I assume since the album was finished, that that has only, you know, increased. I can imagine you guys are already working on newer material even that will come out maybe later.
Yeah, it's a weird bottleneck we're in right now. I'm not sure how that's all gonna play out, but I do, and honestly, we do struggle with that of like, this album's very topical to a time. We had, the first song on the record is so meaningful to us, and we didn't want to release it as a single. When people put that record on, we want that song to be the first song they hear. And we want it to be the first time they've ever heard it. So holding on to that message, which was so designed specifically for the time it was written, is hard, and I mean, it kind of is a bummer, but hopefully the record is universal enough that those things carry through. And for the few people that have heard the record, just, you know, a little carrot I can dangle is that I really do think it's our best work. So I travel light, shaking, but I hang tight, juice to the great whites, pushing me.
I saw recently an older interview of you guys that you did before a show, I think in Canada, with your Canadian tour, when the entire band, quite unprompted, started singing Enya-like vocal harmonies. What's the fascination with Enya and the band?
Oh God, that we love going to Canada. We have Canada is just, it's like a spa day of a tour. We love it so much. I love driving. I love the vistas in Canada. I'll never forget Daisy, the bassist, and I driving through the Canadian Rockies and just kind of looking at each other like, we're doing this. This is crazy. Like, when we met when we were 17, so the idea that we were adult women like doing this was hilarious to us, but also incredible. Crew or something out that's a lot younger than you, that hasn't been exposed to certain things. And that song, we had someone in the crew that had never heard it before, and we were like, how have you not heard like, how have you not heard that? And so we're all doing it, sounding crazy. Imagine you've never heard that song and you have 3 or 4 people singing it in your face, like in all their different tones, like trying to just like, you know this. So it just became and it became like kind of our like war cry on that whole tour, was just like, we would just be walking down a sidewalk and just someone would start doing it, and we'd all start doing it. It was just our jam.
You mentioned the deathcore before, that your army of fans, often easily recognizable by the X's over their eyes, which usually you guys as a band on stage also have your war paint, if you will.
Yeah.
Does it still surprise you when you have a band that shows when you have a fan that shows up and that has, like, you know, could be a middle-aged woman who then shows that she has a tattoo of the logo or of the X's somewhere on her body? That must be still a pretty, for such an accessible act, having such sometimes extreme fans. Is that still weird for you?
That was a very nice way to say not very famous band. It's pretty wild. But for not knowing English well, you skirted that very well. Yeah. For being a bunch of noobs, yeah, it's pretty wild. So, I don't think it has as much to do with our music as it has to do with the whole culture surrounding. So I don't think it's like, the music's obviously very important, but I think the thing that really makes people tattoo you on them, your signature, your logo, whatever, lyrics, it's the culture around us that you know, happens when you do have that, like, love, inclusivity thing that's coming naturally. What happened organically was that we're surrounded by incredible people. And I mean, they have their like, everybody's got their dead name and their patches and their X's and all the stuff, and it never ceases to amaze. Kind of less about the tattoo and just more about the character of the people. Like, people that, you'll have Trump supporters, like, with their arm around someone that's trans at one of our shows. You know, you'll have things happen that don't happen in the real world or something. Like, because our fans don't care. And that's something, and we've had fans say, like, I learned this from being in the deadcore, that actually I'm just like these, we have a lot more in common than we thought, and finding those commonalities, like, God, isn't that a righteous mission above anything else? Like, what's more metal than that? Like...
Well, so Meta Dead, thank you so much for all those answers, and there's a whole core out there worldwide that is waiting for the new release. So to press play and hear that first song, or drop the needle and hear that first song for the very first time, and fully understand that
we have too. We have that gorgeous heavy vinyl.
Nice.
It's gonna sound great.
Awesome. Like, we can't wait. So thank you so much for your time.
My absolute pleasure. I hope I wasn't boring. Thank you.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.